Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. I was doing some testing in the lab to prepare for my SMO guide, and I had a realization that one of the stats isn't quite interacting like I had originally thought. A lot of this is my interpretation of how the tooltip reads, and I was probably a foolish mistake on my part, I know. But I just wanted to spread this information so that everyone else is aware and no one else is making this mistake across all their descendants as well. This stat that I'm referring to is critical strike hit rate. Now this applies to both weapons and your skills, but it kind of holds true across the board. This is a multiplicative modifier. I'm just gonna say that right up front. It's not additive. The mods, they all say stuff like critical strike hit rate plus 8.6%. So I had interpreted that as it's going to be a plus or additive modifier. That's not the case. It's going to take 8.6% and multiply it against whatever the base crit rate for the weapon is. So again, if I'm using this sniper, I have no mods equipped to it right now. It does, however, have firearm crit hit rate 10.5%, and that percentage is going to be multiplied against my base critical or firearm critical hit rate of 50%. So that 10.5 times 50% is going to give me the 5.25%. That's how we get to this number here. So if I add both of these critical strike hit rate modifiers, it's going to give me a total of 41.6%, which if I take this and multiply it against the base critical strike rate of 50%, it's going to give me an additional, I think, 21% critical strike hit rate, I believe, something around that. And that would total about 75% crit hit rate, and that seems about accurate. That's kind of what I was doing. I spent a lot of time just taking the weapon and just shooting a training dummy like 10-20 times, maybe more than that, and just trying to see how it was kind of mathing out and see if that was consistent with that crit rate. And it did seem to be consistent. Yeah, just remember that any kind of critical hit rate modifier that you're applying is going to be multiplied against the base firearm critical hit rate. And if you hover over the stat, it'll show you what that base stat is. All right, so now jumping into the actual Descendant modifiers now and critical hit rate, I was gonna run with a setup similar to this. Of course, some stats are missing or just not fully leveled up because I had to pivot off of this, and so I didn't want to overinvest. But essentially, the two modifiers that I realized were doing nothing for me were emergency measures. Again, this is giving you a lot of crit hit rate, and same thing with skill insight. Both of these are being multiplied against a base critical strike hit rate that we don't see on this page. And again, the tooltip looks like it's an additive modifier. So once again, my dumbass thought that this was an additive multiplier, but it's multiplicative. And you want to know what SMO's base critical strike hit rate is? Once again, I have 61.6 critical hit rate added for my mods. That's being multiplied against an entire whopping 5% to give me a grand total of 8% critical strike hit rate. So both of those mods being overinvested in is only giving me a 3% chance to critical strike. And then just to add a little bit more insult to injury, your reactor can come with skill critical hit chance as well. And as an example, I think I have one that might be like 30%. Again, that's a multiplicative modifier. So 30% of 5% is just a very low value. And basically, it's not giving you any benefit. However, not all the Descendants are being negatively impacted by like a stat like this. For example, SMO's critical hit rate is only 5%. However, someone like Sharon, she has a base critical hit rate of 20%. So if we're taking that multiplicative modifier for critical hit rate, Sharon is going to get much more benefit from investing in critical hit and critical hit damage than someone like SMO. And really a lot, like all the Descendants have a different value. And just to show one more case here, I believe Viesa has a 15% base. Yeah, a 15% base hit rate for critical strike, meaning that she also gets a lot more benefit from investing in critical hit rate than someone like SMO. So in summary, you can check what your base critical hit rate is if you go to this page, you go down to the go to info page, and somewhere in the middle for your skill and also like in your firearms, you'll be able to see what the base stats are for both your skills, for your Descendant, and also for your weapon. Just remember that any kind of critical hit modifier is a multiplicative modifier. Don't believe that the tooltip says that it's addition or plus. It's multiplicative, and it's gonna go a long way for Descendants and weapons that have a higher base critical hit rate. Don't don't overinvest in a mod that is not going to give you a lot of damage. But that's going to wrap up today's video. Once again, I had to kind of pivot a little bit off of my SMO guide, so that's going to be coming here soon. It's almost complete, but I appreciate all the support from the recent videos and all the comments. I've been reading all of them. It's been a very informative series of videos, and I hope you guys have been learning a little bit as we go. But this was Goober Troy saying thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.